In this video, we will discuss user customization, configuration, security setup. In this menu, you can set up the settings related to program security and your login security. There are 3 settings, and we will first go over login settings. Firstly, you can see temporary access block function. If you enable this function, the access to your company code will be utterly restricted except for master IDs. And even if you enable this function, your master IDs will still be able to log into your company code. And next, you can see restricted time function. Here, you can set the time during which you can restrict login to your company code. For example, you can restrict except for the business hours. So allow from 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. and restrict access for the other hours. And you can also set exception conditions so that regardless of the default restricted time settings, a certain user or the users of a certain authorization group can log into the company code even if it's set as restricted time by the default setting. Next, by using session timeout setting, you can set the program to automatically log out users if the users have not created or edited any data, or if they have not moved their mouse cursor for the set hours. For example, if you set it to 1 hour and then do not use your computer for more than 1 hour, you will be automatically logged out from your ERP company code. Next, you can use multi-login feature. This feature will be useful if you use more than one company codes in ECOUNTERP. By using this feature and connecting to another company code, you will be able to first log in to your company code and then access the other company code through person icon without having to open a new window and key in your ID and password. This feature connects more than one company codes. And in order to set up this feature, you need to connect to the counter company code, and the counter company code as well must link to your company code. And next, we will discuss password settings. By clicking Level button, you can set up the level which will be applicable to your company's user IDs. You can select between 1, 2, and 3. And for more detailed description of each level, click About Password Levels, and you will see the criteria of permitting or restricting each password. And in Change Interval section, you can set the cycle of changing password so that, for example, if you select 2 months, then every 2 months your user IDs will be required to change their password. And when they change their password, if you check Allow option here, then they will be able to pass changing password to the next time. And if you check Do Not Allow, they will be required to change the password every 2 months without being able to pass to the next time. And it is required to change your users' passwords often in order to secure your company's security level. Lastly, we will discuss IP security setup. By login IP control function, you can register particular IPs so that they can be permitted of access on PC or mobile app. if you use this function, you can select user type and IP type and enter a particular IP address and set whether to permit login or block login, and save to run the IP control on your company code. And you can also allow or block any access related to your company code by using this row. However, if you register an individual IP, then if you check allow, any IP except for this IP will be restricted of access, so please note. And IP control is useful if you want to block access from anywhere outside your office, or if you want to have only particular office desk to be able to access your ERP code. And lastly, you can find login history monitoring function. By clicking Setup, you can monitor your user's login history so that if any IP who does not have any login history during the set period logs in to your company code, either on PC or mobile, your data proprietor can receive a warning email. And you can set the period of counting the login history, and you can select the range of recognizing IP as the same. For example, if you select A class, then the program will count IPs as identical if only the first 3 digits are identical between them. If you select D class, then the program will examine all 4 parts of an IP for recognizing an IP as the same as another IP.